Good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. This is Muriel,
And this is Sharon.
and we are Abracadabra Sisters, and we have a great guest today. Thank you for joining us on our fledgling channel. Sharon, please introduce our guest.
Today we're going to interview Kevin Lustik. And I have a little story to tell about how I found Kevin, because Kevin and I work together in the same corporate company, which we won't name. And I saw on the company website a picture of a piece of Kevin's art, and a little blurb about how he does needlepoint. And being a needlepointer myself, I was interested. But even more than that, I was interested in the picture because it was a self-portrait, and he had a little piece of paper with a little dot of blood on it, and it was a self-portrait after cutting himself shaving. Yeah. It made me burst out laughing in the middle of a busy day, and I just had to reach out to this person and find out more about him. So I sent an email and talked about my needlepoint, and we chatted back and forth, and I went to his website, and each piece I looked at made me more interested in having him on our show and talking to him. So everybody, this is Kevin Lustik, and he's a needlepoint artist.
What on earth made you pick up a needle?
I've always been handy with a needle and thread. Even when I was a kid, I could easily sew on a button or mend something that tore. And I even remember making quilts when I was a kid, very rudimentary, very simple quilts. But then after college, after using my brain, I wanted to do something with my hands, something difficult. And so I went back to quilting and got a book on how to do it. And so I started with quilts. And then when I was about 30 or 31, I picked up a needlepoint kit at the store, and I did no more than 3 or 4 stitches. And it was a floral pattern, and I did just a few stitches for the one of the petals on the flower, and I was hooked. It just felt right. And so I did a bunch of kits, and that's just color by numbers. And I thought I could make my own designs, not copy someone else's. Then all this craziness ensued. As Sharon said, well, I have a website. It's on Instagram. Plus, I'm selling at a gallery, and most of the pieces are listed there. And it's just a combination of this ability to use a needle and thread and my imagination, and I put those two things together. That's my body of work.
Well, one of the things that really affected me when I was looking through your work on your gallery was your calendar for September 2001. When I saw that piece, I said, I got to talk to this guy, because I wrote a poem back then about how it felt to be, and I used a lot of words to say what you said with one simple picture, with one simple calendar. And the way the calendar is perfect up until the 11th, and then all of the days start to fall off the month.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think anybody in our nation who was around on September 11th, but particularly if you were in New York. And can I ask, were both of you ladies in New York on that day?
Oh yeah, yeah. I heard it. I heard the crash, and yeah.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can I ask how close you were?
I was on 11th Street and Broadway, where our apartment was, and my husband's office. He saw it. He saw it. It was funny because I saw it. I heard it happen, and then I thought, that was a really big crash. There must be something. So I started. Remember the day you changed channels by turning a knob? I was changing channels, trying to figure out if anybody had any news about it. And while I was doing that, my husband called me, and he said, Muriel, a big piece of the I think it was One World Trade, just blew out. They didn't really know they had heard a plane go over. It went right over his office, but they didn't really get it that the plane had hit the building until later it became clear. And it was a crazy time, crazy time.
The word I used for that day was shattering. It
Yeah,
shattered the world I knew.
yeah,
And so I created a calendar that shatters.
yeah,
Like
Yes.
as
Yes.
Sharon, as you described, it was September 1st, 2nd, up till the 11th, and then the blocks just shattering. And
it
Yes.
was brilliant because that's what it felt like. But there was a thing that happened where everybody's heart broke, and suddenly everybody was so soft the days afterwards. People were outside their buildings with a table from their apartment and cookies on it, and they weren't selling them, they were giving them away. I was on the train going uptown one day, like just a couple of days afterwards, and everybody was dead silent in the train. And then this guy started singing from an opera. And clearly he was from the Met or somewhere like that because it was just breathtaking, breathtaking. And everybody in the train started to weep. It was so beautiful. It was a moment of just a humanity that came out of that. And unfortunately, it didn't last long enough. You know, we could have changed as a world in that moment because of the softness that was evoked in New Yorkers if it had just spread. But
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, it quickly turned into let's get the back. Let's kill, rather than, why did this happen? Who are we?
yeah,
This happened.
yeah.
I did one other calendar too. It was from March of 2020. I don't know if you saw that one on the site, but
Oh,
it was, and that's of course when we went into lockdown.
Yeah.
I for a long time I resisted using a calendar on an iPhone or on my computer. I would write down on a calendar like the old-fashioned way if I had a party to go to or a dental appointment. So I created a calendar that had this busy schedule, all these things. And then when we got to, I think it was March 8th,
7th or 9th. Yeah,
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 when we
yeah.
just everything stopped, and then
Yeah.
all the
13th, I think, was
boxes.
the day we went home. We started.
Was it? Yeah.
The 13th was
The
the day.
13th was
Okay,
yours. Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
I
Was
thought
it?
us it was earlier.
It was earlier for us too. I think it was the 7th that
That's
we
right, seventh
left.
or eighth.
Yeah.
It's quite possible that your department started working remotely sooner than ours did.
Could
Yeah.
be. Yeah. But
Yeah.
so all the other boxes on that calendar for March 2020 are blank because again everything stopped,
Yeah. Yeah.
life stopped. And
Yeah.
for New Yorkers,
For
we're
New
used to doing
Yorkers,
things.
yeah.
So it's hard.
Again, my husband's office, they were planning, you started to get the whispers like the week before we had been to the public and saw a play, and just about everybody in the theater was talking about this disease coming from China, and why is it going to come here? And a woman in front of me turned around and said to us, "Could you please stop talking about that? My daughter's really upset by it." So we were just chatting, and then in my husband's office, they were going to do 2 weeks of one half of the office would go home the next week, and they would test work at home, and then that Monday, everybody got called, and they said nobody should come to the office. Everybody is staying home now. And we had come to our house, and then I thought, gosh, I don't know, they might shut down the borders of states or something. We might not be able to get back to the apartment. So we drove back to the apartment that Sunday, I think, to pick up our fish tank, which is a 40-gallon fish tank, so that the poor fish wouldn't die. And we brought them up to the house. So, how quickly, it proves we can change on a dime if we need to.
Yeah, we did.
We can readjust and recalibrate and do something else with ourselves because we are creative people.
Exactly.
Theme
Exactly.
of this show, creativity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And part of like what makes me so excited to have you on our show, Kevin, is because a lot of people that that Muriel and I have been thinking about interviewing, they're artists. That's what they do. That's all they do. And I want to be inclusive of people like us who have a 9 to 5 job.
People with real jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Why the camera's moving around? I need to.
I know that's your just a quick technical thing you need to turn off. I can tell you later.
Okay.
Audience, please forgive us for being technically inept and just bear with us as we learn the programs. So yeah.
But anyway, what I was trying to say is that it's anyone can find a way to squeeze creativity into their lives.
Yes.
And and you just like on the train. I used to knit on the train on the way to work all the time.
Yeah.
Where you find moments to squeeze it into your life.
Yeah, I know a woman who's wrote a science fiction every morning, like from 5 to 6, and then got on with her day, and she managed to get it done. So,
in the evenings and the weekends, there's plenty of time. The idea of being a starving artist living in a garret never appealed to me. I want 3 square meals a day. I want a comfortable bed, and I can do this part-time, and I'm selling the work now. So it's worked out well for me.
That's great. Yeah. Good.
That's awesome.
So
go ahead.
I was going to ask you if you have a favorite piece that you've done, like one that just like tickles your heart every time you look at it, or you don't want to sell.
I'll sell any. I think I'd sell any piece, as a matter of fact, because I'm getting to the point. Well, this is kind of funny. For a long time, I just said, no, I'm just doing this for the love of doing it, for creativity, to express my creativity. But then I hit about age 60, and I said, and all the closets were bursting with this work. I had work in the drawers on all the walls, and it became impossible. I had to start selling. And I'll sell any piece. But some of my favorites, actually, my favorite pieces have sold because they're probably the best pieces. So those are the ones that went first. And one of them is the New York subway map.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. With the needle and yarn left out at the top, because New York City will never be finished.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Always changing.
Yeah.
That's a favorite. I try to include some meaning in my works.
Oh, clearly. And that's what makes it so special.
Thank you. Thank you. Another piece is I incorporate buttons and pins and safety pins in my work too. And one day I was holding up a safety pin, and I opened it and I thought, what does this look like? It looks like a G. What word has a G in it that I could spell out? And I thought, fag. And that was a word I heard a lot when I was in Hawaii. And I thought, well, that's a little too short, so I could make it faggot. That has 2 G's in it. And so I sewed different kinds of needles to spell out that word. And then I wanted to add something a little more dramatic, and I kept changing it, but I finally settled on a drop of blood, red floss, from the T in faggot. And that's a very powerful piece for me.
That is a powerful piece.
Thank you. Now that one is not sold yet, because a lot of people don't want that hanging on their
wall. So is the one of California. The map of California. It's got the wildfires, and the way that you burn the matting, like it's all kind of charred around the edges, it's a very moving piece.
Thank you. That was one of the first pieces that sold, as a matter of fact.
Oh, great. Wow.
Interesting that your eye went to that. I like anything that's different. Anytime I can manipulate fabric or materials. And I thought, what could I do with material? And I thought, I could burn it. And actually, I have another one. I have an emergency exit sign, which I burned. But I thought there were fires. When I made that, there were fires raging
Right.
I think in New Jersey and California. And I just thought the California state is kind of an interesting shape. And then I just took a lighter and torched the mat. So it looked like the winds were taking the flames east. So that's, manipulating materials.
Also, the school zone sign.
Oh, you have a
That
good
one.
eye. The one man bought three. He bought the California fires and the school zone sign and others. So you guys must be thinking alike.
Yeah,
Uh,
clearly.
and I have a school zone sign. I made bullet holes. I just sort of poked a hole in the fabric and kind of frayed it a little bit. And then I put red paper behind it so it looks like blood. And this is kind of interesting. I'm on several needlepoint pages, and I put that on, and people were complaining. They said one of the administrators emailed me and said, we've got to take this down. It's just upsetting people, which I understand, but that's kind of what I want to do.
That's what art is about.
Yeah.
Everybody is so fragile. Yeah.
I wrote a poem about a very difficult time in my life. It was about a rape.
Okay.
And it's pretty graphic. There's a pretty graphic description in it. And I remember a friend of mine calling me saying, oh, can you take that part out? It's so upsetting. I said, well, it was pretty upsetting when it happened to me. And I put it in there so that people would feel the way I felt when it happened to me.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not taking it out.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Make
Talk
that
about
power. That makes it powerful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank
When
you
we
for
don't
sharing
look,
that.
when
Yeah.
we don't look at these things, that's when they can be gotten away with.
Yeah. One other thing where I manipulate fabric, other than burning it, I thought I could rip it, and so I
Oh, the heart.
the heart, and this was one of the most difficult things I had to do because I stitched it very carefully, and I cut it a little bit to get it started, and I had to tear it, and it's really hard to tear your work after you've worked so hard on it.
Yeah.
And then I pulled out the yarn so it looks frayed.
Now,
And
I got to ask you a question about that.
Mhm.
When you were making it, were you thinking about where it's going to tear when it tears? Because fabric tears it tears down the line. Usually I think it is the warp, the weft that will tear
Uh-huh.
more easily than the warp. So did you figure that out before you started?
I wanted to be right down the center.
Yeah.
So I started with scissors,
Nicked it, and then that's the way to do it. Yeah.
and then like I said, I pulled out the yarn too. So it's
Yeah.
looks magnificent. And I think, did that sell? I don't think that one sold yet. But
Well, good
so
luck.
those
Well,
are
we
some
have
of-
actually touched on, I have a little list here that
Go
I
ahead.
made of all the pieces I wanted to talk about, and we have managed to hit on every single one of them.
Good going. There we go.
So now you have to start talking about pieces that are not on my list, Kevin.
Okay, what else?
What are you
Well,
working on now? What's coming up?
Well, before I tell you that, there's one other that kind of has to do with fabric. I made a sign that says learning, spells out the word learning, and I only stitched in some of the letters, and I left off, I think, the N and the G. And my point of that one is our learning should never be finished. So it's partially completed, and then the rest you just see the fabric with the letters outlined. So that's another way to. It's just not traditional work. It's non-traditional.
Right.
Right.
What I'm working on now are gifts for friends because I have so many pieces that I have to sell. I don't really want to make more. So I'm making gifts for friends. So I'll email people, mostly people who've helped me, like given me exhibits or done stories on me for publications, and ask them if there's, I like doing icons and graphics or logos. So for example, a friend of mine worked for the New York Parks Department. He loved his job, loved his coworkers, and their logo is a leaf, just a green leaf in a circle. So I needle pointed that for him. Some friends of mine from London live in their tube stop is New Barnet, which is the very end of the line. So I needle pointed that tube stop, with the circle and the saying, is it New Barnet or High Barnet? I think it's New Barnet. Anyway, so a friend of mine who likes art likes Helga of Klimt, and this is an abstract piece that she designed, and now I'm just needlepointing it for.
Beautiful.
That's lovely.
And they're just small. Then I trim it, sew on some nice trim, and that's what I'm working on right now. But actually, I have another one. Wait right here. I'll be right back. Right here. Not going far.
He's a man after our own hearts, Sharon, right? I know.
Kevin, you fit right into our family.
A friend of mine likes hummingbirds, so I'm
Oh,
making
beautiful.
Oh, look at that. That's
That's lovely. Very
Thank you.
nice.
And you mentioned the.
So go
ahead.
I just want to tell you that I have there's a local arts organization that I belong to called Kent Art in Kent, Connecticut. And once a year, we give 2 prizes for work for Best in Show. One is for Best Floral in the name of my mother-in-law, who is a floral painter, beautiful paintings. And the other is in the name of my mother, or our mother, Patricia Stockdale, is a Best Fiber Art. And we have a hard time getting people to submit fiber arts. So at some point, I should let you know when Kent Art is having a show and that prize is coming up, and you should send a piece up there. So, or come up.
I absolutely will. And Sharon, you showed me the needlepoint you did of your mother, which was really beautiful. And you said that was your first. I'm like, that's your first?
You did a beautiful job. Yeah.
Complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of used it as a soothing exercise to deal with my grief, and I really dragged it out over a couple of years before I finished it.
Well, you're not done with the grief yet, because now you're working on our grandmother. And
No,
she's
great
grandmother, and she's making it smaller and more and tighter and more complicated. So
Did you know your great grandmother?
No, yes. Well,
you might not remember her, because I think I was 5 when
I remember going up the stairs
to see her. Yeah,
she was
in
up
bed.
upstairs in Nanny's house in London, and we used
She was probably the tiniest person in the world. I remember. And I was tiny back then, but I think she was really.
But I feel a great deal of affinity for her because, first of all, our mother looked so much like her.
Okay.
Very, very similar to, but also I have a feeling of her being with me, and I've had psychics tell me that she's watching over me. So I just felt like I wanted to honor that by creating a piece. And what I'm doing is for my needlepoint, I want to create heirlooms that will stay in the family. And I like the idea of creating something that, like 100 years from now, someone in the family is going to say, who's that lady in that needlepoint? Oh, well, that's my great, 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 great grandmother. And,
And just think of this. This is important information for everybody. We went to see my aunt in England, and she handed us like this pile of photos and album that was falling apart from the turn of the last century, like 1900s and a long time ago, all these people. And none of the photos had names on them. None of them had dates on them. None of them had the place or the event on them. So make sure that you put on the piece on the back, name, date it was made, all that information.
I agree 100%, because once a certain generation is gone, like your father's generation, nobody's going to know. And even, maybe your father might not even remember.
My aunt couldn't even tell us who a lot of these people were. And we're just like looking at them, and then we're thinking, well, let's try and compare it with this other picture that we know is Fred. Maybe it's another picture of him. It's like, it's a deep and confusing hole that you can all fall in when you start looking at photos.
So a word to the wise for anyone out there listening: if you have people in your family of that generation and you've got photo albums, go through it with them and make sure that you write on the back of all the pictures who they are, because later on, you're going to wish you'd done that.
And dates. And
Yeah,
that's
but
okay.
Sharon,
Names and dates.
how do you write on the back of a photo that's in the iPhone?
But you can identify.
No, I know. There's a way
photo
that you can
with phone.
identify it. Yeah,
In
but
fact, what
so-
I've been doing is I've been cataloging the ones that I do know and created a whole directory. And each one of them I have been identifying to the best of my ability.
yeah, yeah.
Sharon, you started on something a little bit ago that's interesting. You talked about posterity. And I think a lot of artists want posterity. And when you're creating things, I always say, remember to put your name on it somewhere, either on the front or on the back, because the idea of someone looking at one of your pieces or reading one of your poems 100 years from now is very flattering. We hope that our work will last. We want.
Yeah, you don't want it published somewhere with the word anonymous underneath it because they have no idea who wrote it.
Yeah, we want some legacy.
I always had this idea of finding like a really good anonymous book or a couple of good anonymous books from history, and then deciding that they were women that had to write anonymous because they couldn't use their own name, and then telling their story. That would be interesting to, make something like that up.
Yeah, there's also a lot of women artists. It was only the men artists who got exhibits, but now finally the museums and galleries are giving women their due. So yeah, it's high time.
It is high time. Yeah, not only women artists, but was like a woman was the one who figured out what the principal chemical is in the universe or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yes, women in science.
women in science, so many women in
Yeah.
science throughout history. And I mean, like Hedy Lamarr, she was just an amazing inventor. As while she's like being a babe on the screen, she's got patents for all kinds of crazy things that she invented,
She was a smart
so
lady. She had a science brain.
yeah, creativity. So
Yeah, and Lucille Ball, I was stunned to find out that she's behind Star Trek, one of my favorite shows.
oh yeah,
She was
she was the one that
wasn't
picked
just
it
a
up.
talented comedian. She was a mogul. She was running
Yeah.
a studio when no other women were doing it.
Yeah, she saw a good product and
Yes,
ran with it. Yeah.
I do have a few other pieces here. This is the one you mentioned.
great.
You can see the glare, but there's
That's so great.
yeah. And I have oily skin, so I get blemishes. And so when I shave, I will sometimes nick a zit. And so
Ouch.
I find myself with tissue paper, and that's actual tissue paper and red floss for the blood. But these portraits are so hard to do. They're almost not even pleasurable. They're so difficult. But when
you're talking to someone who does nothing but portraits. So
they're hard. Because sometimes the nose is a line or a shadow. It's very difficult.
Yeah, well, Muriel paints portraits, and she does an amazing job. It amazes me how when you look at the components and you get in really close, because when we're children and we draw a line for the nose and but it's just a hint of a shadow can show the turn of a cheek. There's so much more subtlety in the human face. I find doing faces very interesting. I've had people say to me, why don't you do flowers or landscapes and maybe someday I will, but right now I just feel like I want to record faces. I find it's so exciting to see someone using needlepoint for something else that's kind of out of the box. Because I find those little things that they sell you in the store that are pre-printed, that come with the yarn, I've never once picked one of those up and said, oh, I feel like doing that.
Yeah.
Those are a good place to start. So you can learn the different kinds of stitches, how to not to pull too hard on the yarn, not too light, to get the craft of it down. But then you can run with it. Yeah.
Right.
I like doing kind of like 3D things. So I made a worm boring into this apple.
I love that one. I love that one. Yeah.
Thank you. This one, like I said, I'd like my works to say something. And this one, well, what can you
Yes.
It's about AI. That's AI and how it's reaching maybe
Yeah.
further than
It's
it
reaching
should.
out of the frame.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
It's like a circuit board. It's coming out of the box. It's going to be taking over.
and
Yes.
just might, yeah. And then I can do this is I've done historical scenes. Does that look familiar to you? Do you recognize what that is?
It
Kent
does. But
State.
what?
Kent State.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, it is. The
Yes.
shooting at Kent State, the man who shot, and then that famous shot of the woman
Yeah.
Yes.
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 screaming and crying.
Yes.
And I did other ones like that, of movie scenes that I uh, like West Side Story with the three, the Jets dancing. So that again, these are I do gifts for people like that.
What age were you when you first started doing the needlepoint?
Needlepoint, I was about 30 when I started with the kits. And then when I branched out and did my own work, maybe about 35, something like that.
So you've been at this for a while, quite a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. I'm
No
60.
wonder you were busting out of your closets.
I know I have a lot. Yeah.
I didn't mean it that way.
I know, but I am. I am. First of all, it's really hard to find a gallery to sell your work because galleries and museums, they are, don't call us, we'll call you. And so, but I tried, I wrote to all the galleries, and needlepoint is a tough sell too. Most people want to buy paintings or sculptures. So needlepoint is tough. And I wrote to a lot of galleries. Nobody would represent me. And then I remembered that I have a Facebook friend who owns a gallery, a really nice guy named Rob Nightingale. And he owns the Wilder Nightingale Fine Art Gallery in Taos, New Mexico. And I called him, and I was mainly just calling, asking for some advice. How can I go about doing this? And he said, do you want me to give it a shot? Do you want me to try to represent you? So I said, I'd love that. And he created a webpage for my work on his site. So he does the business end, he sells it, and then I ship the pieces from New York. I sent him a few pieces to put in the gallery, but most of them are here, and I ship from New York. And it's the Wilder Nightingale Fine Art Gallery in Taos, New Mexico.
Wilder Nightingale. Okay.
That's great.
It's a great gallery too, and Rob is a great guy.
That's great. That's good that you found someone to work with you on that. It's very hard to get a gallery. Very
Do you
hard.
ladies have representation, or do you do it more for your own purpose?
I do not. I would love to have a good representative, and I've known quite a few different gallery people, but even the people that I know won't talk to me about it. Like I know several people, and I've had people who have shown my work in various shows, invited it to come to be in the shows, but still don't represent me per se. That's good because then I get all the money. If I sell something, it comes to me, not just I don't have to split it with anybody.
Right.
So yeah.
Sharon, the work you do, is that for your own?
It feeds my soul. Let's put it that way.
It's enough.
That's good. Yeah, that's enough.
But I'll tell you, when you've got enough piled up,
I know when my closet's full, I might consider.
Yeah.
I consider selling, but
yeah. Well,
I tend to give a lot of stuff away. Actually, I do for people as gifts.
As my ploy, I'm going to visit my nephew in DC, and they have a new house, and they've got a lot of walls, and my walls are so full. I'm going to look through and send him some pictures and say, "Do you want this piece? Do you want this piece? Do you want this piece?" I'll bring him some art so he can put it on the wall. It's got to go to the younger generation at some point anyway, so might as well go now.
You also you don't want to leave this for other people to tend to. Before we kick the bucket, you want to find a home for as many of these pieces as possible. I feel kind of like a mother trying to find a home for her children. Children to live.
You want it to go to people who are going to appreciate it. You don't want it thrown in the bottom of some closet and damaged in a flood or something like that.
Right. Yeah. You want them seen.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're reminding me of something. Somebody had a whole series of fashion drawings they wanted to find a home for, and famous fashion fashion artist, and I forgot. I'm gonna have to write it down so that I remember to figure out what to do with that stuff. So yeah, because it's true. You don't want it to go to the wrong place or end up in the dump, you know?
Right. Right.
So, so I have a question for you.
Sure.
I've been seeing lately, I don't know why you get into these like loops on social media, but this loop is men knitting. All of a sudden, I'm getting like a ton of men knitting, like knitting Fair Isle sweaters that are fabulous, you know, or men knitting these like beautiful shawls, or men knitting on the train together, or in a in a coffee shop together. So I wanted to ask you, do you have like a community that you spend time with at all, or is this pretty much a solo effort for you?
I, s- I- I've been asked to join groups like knitting groups, sewing circles, things like that, but I don't because I think that's more about socializing,
Yeah,
or chit-chatting. And I know it's just, pull the needle up, pull the needle back down, pull it up, pull it down. But you have to think about it. I really have to, especially when it's my own design. I don't want to make mistakes. And if I'm gabbing,
yeah.
I'll make a mistake. And I usually sit in my favorite chair and I have the TV on, but it has to be a show that I can kind of pay attention to, but not too closely.
Something that you've seen before, so you can see it in your head while you're working. That's what I do whenever I love to watch Star Wars over and over and over again because I know every bit of it. So at every line, I know exactly what's going on, and I don't have to look up from the work to see what's going on.
Like a foreign film where you'd have to read the subtitles. You can't,
Forget it.
would not be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I am on but the most social thing I do is I'm on two needle pointing Facebook pages. And I
Uh-huh.
asked that question, what do you listen to or watch while you're needle pointing? A lot of people said they listen to audiobooks
Yeah, I do that too.
or
Yeah.
Podcasts.
podcasts. Yeah, podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not using all of your brain, just part of it, and you can concentrate on your work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but no, I don't do, it's not a social thing for me.
Yeah.
It's work. It's artwork, and I have to concentrate on it.
So when
Yeah.
do you buy your yarn? And what kind of yarn do you buy? I'm just curious.
I have some right here. I go to Michael's,
Oh, okay.
Michael's, and I'll buy I buy floss. This isn't, this is just part, but a floss.
Embroidery floss.
So
Embroidery floss, yeah.
you use them below because I'm using for mine. I'm using Turkish rug yarn.
Okay.
I 100% wool Turkish. I like the vibrant colors of the wool. So I went that way. I did get some of the floss, and I actually started the project on my mother with the floss, and I just didn't like the way it was working for me. So, also, do you use like an awl to like lay the stitches down so that they stay beside each other, they don't cross over each other?
I don't even know.
Like when you have like two threads and
Yeah.
you pull it through,
Yeah.
sometimes they can twist.
Yeah.
So I had a little tool I used to use to slip under. When I was doing my mother's portrait, it was two ply. So if the two switches, the stitches, the yarns would twist,
It'd be like a little knot.
yeah. So I had it was like a little awl that I would slip under it to kind of guide the stitches down. It slowed the process down considerably.
I'm
But
sure it did.
I don't use that. I'm pretty cautious as I go. I know what you're talking about. I'll try to smooth it out as I go. If that happens, where the yarns twist, I'll kind of level it.
Right.
You can do it with your hand, or push the needle through, push a separate needle through to even it out. But you mentioned the Turkish yarn. You could really use any kind of yarn. You can use floss. You can use knitting yarn. Almost, I've used thread. Almost anything, and that varies the texture. It keeps it interesting.
Right. Floss is stronger though. I notice with the wool, with the Turkish yarn, I have to keep it short because if I pull it through too many times, it starts to get a little frayed.
Yeah. I also wonder, how are these things going to age? Like if you ever look at a 1860 sampler, for example, where the 12-year-old girl works on these things that's got the alphabet or the numbers, or farmhouse, and they're so yellow and the colors fade. So this is nice and bright now, But if this lasts 100 years, what's this going to look like? Is that red going to be pink?
You know, they have, I have that problem with my flags. I make American flags that celebrate diversity, and a lot of them are cloth. And I've noticed that a lot of them have faded considerably, even in just since I've been making them for 20 plus years now, even in just those 20 years, faded a lot. But I did find there's a product which is for fabric. I've bought it on Amazon, it helps retain the color,
That's
and so I spray them with that, and I'm making a very big flag right now. It's 10 feet wide and 7 feet high. That is, I'm putting it on a scenic drop, which is already sprayed for retaining and fireproofed. So once I get done with it, I'm going to be spraying the front of it, not only with the color lock, but also with the fireproofing as well, because it's a big piece. I wouldn't do that on any of my smaller pieces, but you know, that's part of the thinking about what's going to happen in the future. You know, how is it going to survive?
Now, you mentioned diversity. Can you give one or two examples of that?
Yes. So, for example, the Chinese flag is made out of Chinese fabrics like brocades, so it's an American flag out of Chinese brocades with some zodiac symbols as the fringe on the bottom. And then the stars are made out of those little tiny babies that they put on pin cushions. They're little babies on the outsides of the pin cushions. They're little like little silk Chinese babies with a little tuft of hair on the head. And those are the stars in the field.
Oh,
and then the Japanese flag is made out of origami paper. And it has, here's the throat problem, sorry. And it has folded origami cranes for the stars.
interesting.
I have one on the wall here that's completely beaded, and it's made to honor a particular clothing that the Cameroon people wear. So it's all made out of beads, and the stripe part of it goes from stripes into diamond shapes, which is their traditional shape of that garment, that the bead garment that the Cameroon women would wear.
She's made an English American flag that's completely embroidered, and our mother is the one who did the actual embroidery work. And it's made of roses, English roses. And it's all English roses, right? What are the stars made out of?
The Tudor roses.
The roses, yes.
Okay.
And the stars are the heraldic shields.
Now,
yes.
You said one piece was origami. How do you protect that? Because if it's origami, it must be sticking out. And I faced this problem too.
It's in a frame, in a glass frame.
Is it like a box frame?
Box frame, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You have to.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I don't know if you encountered this. I've learned to do some framing myself, but sometimes you've got to have it custom framed, and that's expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive. Yeah.
And you have to get special like museum glass or something like special. Yeah.
That will help with the color fasting.
Yeah, but the price goes up even more than
really a lot. Right.
Yeah.
I figure I'm gonna have to decide. The one that I did for my mom, it's pretty big. It's not going to be cheap if I wanted to get it framed in that sort of a way. But right now it's just stretched. It's on a strainer. It's just, you know.
How big is the one of your mom?
20. It's about 20 by 30 inches.
That you'll want to custom frame. You'd have to custom frame that, because I don't even think they sell a frame at Michael's.
Right? Yes, I can't just walk into Michael's and buy.
I did get one frame for a painting of me and my mom that I did. That's on our dad's wall. I ordered it from a frame place on Amazon, and it's a pretty good frame, and it was not expensive, not hugely expensive. So there are options out there.
And actually, speaking of, I feel like I'm doing a commercial for Michael's. Now, if I have a really special piece, I'll go to a fine arts custom framer. But Michael's has custom framing, and it's very reasonably priced there.
Yeah, I had them do the stretching, but I had them do the stretching of my mother's piece, and I wasn't really happy with it.
They didn't know what to do with it.
Twice they tried, and then finally Muriel and I decided which we still have to do, that we're gonna.
Yeah, we'll sort it. I'll help you with that. I can help you figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. We have not just the big idea and then the execution of the big idea, but then the, preservation of it, the display of it, all those different parts of the process.
And then where's it going to end up? Who's going to take?
And where's it going to end up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, some of your descendants will be interested in the
That's the goal. The goal is to go down the family. I don't have any grandchildren, and neither does Muriel. So
I don't have any children, so there's nobody going. It's going to go to my friends' children and my sister's children.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter because we just want to make what we want to make.
That's really the main thing.
Really the main thing.
Yeah.
It's just for our own sanity, we have to be making something.
I agree.
Right?
So recently my daughter has turned me on to watching YouTube videos of a professional art restorer, preservationist on the guy in Chicago.
Oh, Baumgartner.
Baumgartner.
Yeah.
I watched that too.
It's amazing, isn't it
Having
amazing?
watched
Great.
him, he makes you really think about the future of your work.
Absolutely.
And how it may get treated,
Mm-hmm.
Because
And what would these things come in? There's one where there was like a slash across the canvas, and by the time he's done, you don't see it. He's amazing.
yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah, and he's got so many different skills. I watched one of the shows where he built a whole carriage system as big as a huge, professional bar. This carriage system, because the piece had different. It was made out of wood, and one piece of wood was one thickness, and the other piece of wood was a different thickness, and so he had to somehow get some planes in there that he could get them to the right height. It was just amazing. It's amazing.
He can, when there's missing parts of a painting, he can even paint the face, the eyeball.
He's an amazing painter too. And when he mixes color, mixing color is very difficult to get color exact. And people like him that can just that particular greenish puce with a tiny bit of yellow, and he nails it. He zip, 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 and there he dabs it on, and it's exactly right. And even sometimes there's a little difference between when it's wet to dried, and you look and you're like, oh, I don't know, it looks a little dark, and then it dries and it's exactly the color. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he'll add cracks too, because most, and then when
right, crazing, like the crazing.
So he'll add that.
Yeah.
Plus, he can do the back. He can do a frame. He can.
It's amazing.
The tacking, just astounding. But I want to.
He's got a very relaxing voice too.
Right.
Yes.
I find him like it's like being read a story when you're a child, a bedtime story. He's got that kind of voice that makes you just calms you right down.
Yeah, that's funny that we should both watch, all three of us be watching that. And actually, two things. Speaking of YouTube, because I watch a lot of YouTube when I do my work, my needlework. There's a guy now, it's called Geo Detective, and people send him an old picture, and he tries to find out, let's say someone's grandmother in a mountainous area, and he can figure out, this was taken in 1932 in the Alps or something, or in the desert.
Wow.
He can nail it down. It's Geo Detective. Check him out.
Wow. Well, that's last visit with my dad, our dad. He had been playing around with Google Earth and discovering things on Google Earth. Like you click on England and all these pictures came up. And so there's a particular picture of a very quaint village that he wants to paint. So he'd taken a picture of the picture and saved it in his photos so he can paint it. But then he was like, oh, can I paint? I want to paint this. But where is it? So then I went, to Google search and found where that exact was. Gold Hill in, where was it? Somewhere Lancashire or something, like Sheffield. Gold Hill in Sheffield, I think, something like that. Anyway, he was so excited to then know where this picture came from.
It's
So
astounding what they can find on
yeah,
Google Maps. That's what he uses.
I think it's great watching a 94-year-old enjoy technology. I put YouTube on his TV and showed him how to go to YouTube, and I set it up because he's painting. He's going to watercolor classes, and he was struggling with certain things like skin tone or whatever. So I said, well, there's lots of classes on YouTube. So I set him up with a YouTube account, and I found a few artists out there on YouTube who are showing how to do certain things, and I subscribed him to a few of those, and
but he's finding his way around and he loves it. And he's like, he's deep into Tesla for some reason. I don't know all these like things about the car. He's deep into America's Got Talent singers, and he's finding all this stuff that he's just really enjoying. And Baumgartner too. He's the one I've learned about that from. That's where I learned about him. So yeah, he's really liking it.
It sounds like you come from a creative lineage. You're talking about your mom was creative.
Yes.
Now, see, for me, I'm kind of isolated. My parents weren't really creative. I don't think my grandparents were. Although my grandmother did do needlework, but it has trickled down.
Yes. Well, our family, it was a DIY family, my mother, she hung the wallpaper, she put the tiles up, she made all our clothes. She was making, for her entire life, she was making baby clothes for people. She just loved making baby clothes. So she was always making little christening gowns and
she was making clothes for us when we were kids too.
Yeah.
We would all three of us be wearing, she'd buy a bolt of fabric and she would make a dress for each one of us so we would be identical in the same
dress.
And then she'd make a dress for herself out of the same fabric, but a different, obviously an adult style dress.
And I remember once I asked her, I said, why do I have to wear it? I'm the oldest, so I'd be like, I don't want to go out with a dress on just like my sisters. It's not fair. And Mommy said to me, you're all gonna wear the same dress. You're gonna all wear the same bloody dress. That's how she would say it. Because if I lose one of you, I can say to the police officer, she's wearing that, and point to the other one.
Practical. It's practical. I also wanted to ask, because as soon as I finish a piece, I might take one day off, but then I dive into the next. Are you always
backed up in the brain?
Yeah, me too. It's in the brain. It's already in the brain.
You're always creating that.
Yeah, there's something next. The next thing is lined up. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It's true. I can't have too many pieces lined up or it makes me kind of jittery. I say I have a faucet. I'm able to turn the faucet on for ideas or turn it off when I was creating my own pieces. Now, when I'm asking friends for ideas, I can ask just 2 or 3 at a time, so I have a couple lined up. But yes, there are people just who always have to create, and I think we're that way, the three of us.
Yeah. No,
I find that the excitement about getting started on the next project is kind of the motivation to finish the one I'm on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So sometimes you get to a point where it seems very tedious, and you're like, oh, I'm so tired of this. And then you're like, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to get through because I can't wait to do the next one.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm pretty much done with the piece once I'm bored with it. I'll just wrap it up as quickly as I can. I mean, I want it to be right and look good, but I'll kind of speed it up once I lose interest in it.
Yeah, I have a few pieces that I would love to know that I was going to do another show with the flags, because then I could scramble and get them done too. Like I have a beautiful piece of $100 piece of papyrus papyrus paper from Egypt to do an Egyptian flag on, that I want to paint like the cartographs from the ancient Egyptian thing. But the piece of paper is so expensive that and I only have one piece, so I'm thinking, If I start,
Miracle.
if I mess this up, well, I only have the other side. If I mess up one side, then I do have the other side. So I could think there's two sides to it. So I was thinking, maybe I should make stencils. Maybe I should, maybe I should make it printable, like design it and then print it on the thing so that I don't have to worry about it. I could actually, that's a good idea. I'm going to think about that, and I'm going to go to the local print shop and ask them if they can print on it, because that might be the way to do it, because it's got like a nubby it's got there's like strands of papyrus in
Yeah.
the paper. So I'm
I know
afraid to
exactly.
hit it with a brush because I'm afraid it'll just like, end up, and if I stipple it even, it might like still get ragged underneath the like a little stencil or something like that. So that is a piece that's in my brain, and that's been like, every once in a while it comes back up, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do with it? How is it going to work?
You'll get it sorted out. It's the technological aspect of what you're doing that you've got to get that sorted out before you can start the project.
And feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
That's why the English flag, which is like 6 years in the making, because every time I would see Mummy, we would sit down and we say, well, what do we think it should be? What should it be? Should we do like Liberty of London fabrics, or should it be lions, or what should it be? And we would just have all these discussions, and then finally we landed on the idea of Tudor roses, white Tudor roses and red Tudor roses, or actually the Lancashire is the white and the red was the York. No, York was white.
York is the
York
white.
and
The-
red was Lancashire.
The Lancashire was
And
red.
the
The Tudor
Tudors
roses
put
both
it
together.
on top of each other. Yeah. So
Sounds beautiful.
that's what we did.
Now, I'm fanatical about completing pieces. I've almost never started something and then left it undone or unfinished.
Well,
Do you-
let
do
me
you
applaud
think
you
you
for
can do
that, because that is very that's a good trait,
something?
because
I guess it is, yeah.
yeah, because let me see, do I have anything that's unfinished? I have had unfinished things. I've had like quilts that I've started and never finished. But now I've cut that quilt up and put it in a flag. So
I'm the queen of unfinished knitting and crochet projects.
yeah.
I do finish a lot of them, but you'll start something and then you go, at some point I'll go, I don't like the way this yarn feels. I'm not going to want to wear it. And then
Yeah.
I'll throw it aside and say, I don't even feel like unpicking it. So it just sits there until
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
some point I'll find a use for that yarn, and then I'll be motivated to unpick it. But it won't be clothing. Now
Yeah.
I've got the throat thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Maybe you can take what you've already made, Sharon, and turn it into a bag.
That's another thing too. I made that bag out of plastic grocery bags. I made a clutch purse.
Oh yeah. But you know what about that bag? It's really heavy.
Oh
Isn't
no,
it?
no, that's the
No,
tote bag.
the tote bag.
Tote bag.
It's really heavy.
Who ended up with that? That was Mummy's knitting bag.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
still at the house.
Is it still at the house? Oh, okay.
I don't know. I know I ran into it at one
Because I
point.
know that Mandy inherited most of her knitting projects because they were mostly for Mandy's grandchildren.
Yes.
So I didn't know if she took the
Yeah, she
bag
finished
with her.
them all. Yeah.
Like I said, most of my projects end up as a gift to somebody.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do with them. Hopefully they'll treasure them.
Sharon made most recently, before the one she started now, she made for a friend who lost her puppy an exact copy of the puppy, a knitted copy of the puppy, and it just came out beautiful, really beautiful.
Was that needlepoint or?
No, that was knitted. That was totally
Knitted?
knitted. Yes.
A
Yes.
stuffed.
Oh, I
knitted
see what you're
stuff.
3D.
Yeah, a knitted beagle puppy.
Oh my
Well,
God.
it wasn't a puppy when he passed away. He had a good long life, but she still missed him, and he's been gone for 10 years, and she still missed him. And I saw a pattern that someone was selling on Etsy. I won't claim ownership for the pattern, and I thought, oh, what an adorable beagle puppy! I'm going to knit that, but of course, I had to knit it with the colors of her dog, not
Right.
the colors of So
That's-
while I'm learning the pattern, I'm changing all of the. I'm changing
And
on.
it was one of the most complicated knitting patterns I've ever seen. So
Okay.
I applaud you for getting through that.
You know, Muriel, what you were describing earlier, and Sharon, what you just described is problem solving. And I'd like to think this is keeping our brains active because every piece, whenever I start, I'll think, oh, this will be an easy, oh, this is easy. This is just sort of goes. But then you get into it and there's just decisions you have to make and problems you encounter that you didn't expect. And it's just constant problem solving.
Yeah.
Do you feel that too?
And don't we get enough of that at work?
I
Why do we choose to
at home
do
too.
that on our spare time as
I know.
well?
But you know, that is one of the most important aspects of art that is that proves that it should be required in schooling and be part of all schooling because it's you gotta figure it out and find your way through a process and get it done, and that gives you the creative chops
Yes.
to become a problem solver and to find your way through whatever it is that you need to find your way through, and
And
it's important. It's
yeah, and the
very
longer you do this, the better you get at, oh, I've had this problem before. I know how to solve this.
yeah.
I remember when I first started, I always would say the first stitch is the hardest.
Yeah,
But now that I've been doing this so long, I just dive right in. Like, oh, let's do it.
yeah,
First stitch, second stitch,
yeah,
just keep going.
yeah.
You just you get better at it.
Yeah, another reason why I think it would be so important to teach art in school is because I can't tell you how many people I know in my circle that will go, oh, I'm not creative. I can't do something like that. And when you children don't think like that, they'll just dive in and try it. And it's from doing and succeeding comes the confidence and the knowledge that you can do and can succeed. And
Yeah.
we start that early, then we end up raising up creative children
People.
who are problem solvers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I have been through my own like trials on that front because when I came to this country, and then I started the last year of like it was like eighth grade or ninth grade or something like that, and then I went to the high school, and I had an art teacher in there, and until then I drew all over my books. I had doodles on everything, every page. There were notes, but then there was drawing everywhere. There was drawing on everything, on the front, the back, inside covers, outside, everywhere. And so for this art class, I had to draw various ideas for a project. And then the teacher would let us make that project, whatever it was. So I brought in like 6 ideas every week, and he would like, no, that won't work. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, that wouldn't work. Don't do that. Don't do that. By the time I was done with that teacher, I all that doodling stopped, and I got
Oh,
like
that's too bad.
stuck. Then it became the whole thing about art became a much more just like there was a hurdle to even starting. And I got to the
Right.
point where I would just like I'd open the page and I'd be okay, I'm just going to draw the bunch of flowers right there, and I would draw one line, and I'd go like a half-inch line, and I think, oh no, it's all wrong. I rip the page out
Teacher's
and throw it
voice in
away.
your head. Yeah.
And it's just, it was like I got into this real like stymied place for years. For years. It took me
Bad
years
teeth.
to break out of
That's the
that.
problem. There's so many bad. I've had a few bad English teachers who
With
with
reference to
my
your writing.
creative writing.
Yeah.
When you hand something in and it comes back with more red ink than blue ink, and it's heartbreaking. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one thing to say, okay, well, good effort. I felt like I wasn't connecting. They didn't get me, and I was thinking, well, I'm obviously not good at this if I can't connect.
Yeah.
you know, and I stopped writing for a very, very long time. I didn't start until I was an adult again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the things about my thing, I did connect because there was one project that was my favorite that I really wanted to do, which was basically I wanted to get like a hanger. I had a whole plan for how to do a hanger that I would make into shapes, like round shapes like this, and then I would put some of that clear plastic, different colors on it, and somehow stick it on there, and then have a mobile of all these clear plastic, different colors like going around. And I went back to pick up Mandy after I had graduated from that school. I was coming home from high school or something, pick up my baby sister from the school. I walk into the lobby and there's the sculpture, that the mobile that I had in my mind. And I thought, what? How did that get there? I don't think I made it. It was like vivid, like literally the one that I had drawn. And then I realized the teacher had made it and it was hanging in the lobby of the school.
The
And
same teacher who told you, no, don't
no,
do
I
it
can't do
like
it. Yeah, I can't. Don't make that. It's too complicated. You're not going to be able to make it.
Sharon, you started before about. I think what you're saying is children are naturally creative, and I think that's true. Think about when you were a kid. Did you make up games? And
Oh, we
that
did.
was Muriel.
yeah,
That was
I was always
Muriel.
I was always directing some show that we were
Yeah.
doing. We were always doing like some fairy tale show.
My siblings and I would make up
Yeah,
games, things like that, and I'd make like we'd have scrapbooks of things, like putting together a book. Kids just, I think they just want to create. And it
yeah,
tapers
yeah.
off when they're older. That's too bad.
Didn't we have a creepy obstacle course in the house that we used to like charge kids to go and
Well, no,
we used to put them in the we used to put them in the wardrobe and shake the wardrobe and
No,
roll them up in a rug and
something like that. But the best one was we were out just outside London and we had an air raid shelter right next to the house.
Oh,
And it was like a brick, it had like 4 foot thick walls around it. And it was big enough to put just, through, I don't know, four or five people kind of tight each on a chair or something like that. But our dad used it for storage and he was an electronics designer. He had oscilloscopes and dial boards and old TV sets and all kinds of
radio.
radios. And, he just like had a ton of electronic junk that was all piled up in this thing, in this room, and big, big piles.
And there were a
then
couple of army cots in there too.
and there was a chair, some kind of a like desk chair or something like that. So I went in there and I rearranged all of these things so that the oscilloscope is over here and the knobs are all over here. And I put the chair down so that the back was on the floor. And so you sat down on it with your feet like up on the chair and all these things were like there. And I charged the kids to go in so they could like pretend they were in a spaceship and they were going to take off in the spaceship and they were like turning the knobs and like,
creative.
yeah, it was fun.
Was that a World War II bunker, like during the air raids?
Yes, yes.
So you had
Yeah.
an older home. You grew up in an older home.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be so
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Did you ever see the movie Hope and Glory? John Borman's film Hope and Glory.
I'm sure it sounds familiar, but I don't recall it.
About a family during World War II. It's fantastic.
Yeah. That was our parents. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Our mother was in London during the Blitz, and she was the older of
She
two
was
girls.
10 during the war.
Yeah.
She would climb on top of their air raid shelter that they had and count the bombers as they were going through as they were going overhead. And they, and I said to her, well, weren't you worried that there was going to be a bomb? And she said, oh no, we knew exactly when they were going to start bombing because you could tell from the height and how they were, how the plane was moving. And then if it started to do that, then we'd run inside the bomb shelter.
If you have Hope and Glory, it's one of my favorite movies. Yeah, very good.
I'll have to look
what
for
you
it.
just described.
Yeah.
By John Borman. Yeah.
Well, this has been a great conversation. We're over an hour now. So I think we can consider it a wrap. And it's been really great. Can you just tell people again how they can contact you or find you,
Sure.
find your work?
Sure. You can find me on Instagram, Pinterest, or Facebook under Lustik Art, Lustikart. You can see my pieces there. If you want to buy any, they're at the Wilder Nightingale Fine Art Gallery in Taos, New Mexico. And I want to thank both of you ladies. You're both
Thank you,
lovely.
Kevin. It's been a
Thank
lot,
you.
I enjoyed this
Kevin.
conversation enormously.
very
Thank
much
you.
so. Yes.
And everyone, if you would mind liking, sharing, all that,
Subscribe.
subscribing, all that,
You
all
like
that
what you
YouTube
see,
stuff that we're trying to
subscribe.
figure out and learn and get to. So thank you all for watching. Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.